This summer, I decided to take a break from my normal painting and head off in a completely different direction. I was determined to make a window which had the appearance of surviving a car bomb or some other catastrophic explosion. The evening news was filled with these images, and they were deeply recorded in my mind, and I wanted to do this. I began by buying some lumber and quickly learned that that wasn't going to get the job done. The lumber was straight and clean and unblemished. I could never convert it into the image that I had in my mind. But nevertheless, I found my mind beginning to fill with these ideas. You could do this kind of a window and that kind of a window. And so I jumped in and began executing these other ideas. I'm making some pretty good progress. This is the upper sash, and I'm trying to get radical, so I'm actually bending it completely out of shape. I'm not sure this is the best way to go about doing that, but this is what I've worked out. The bottom sash is going to be a little more traditional, although it's out of square, and it exaggerates the frame itself, which is out of square. I think the two will work nicely together. I've made some good progress on the first piece. It's turning out to look rather humorous. It's a window made by committee, and I think that's going to turn out well. I'm working on a second piece. In the foreground, this is a molding that I'm making myself. It separates the panes of glass, and it's called a muntin. I never heard that word, and no one in the lumberyard ever heard that word, so I actually have to make it myself. It's a lot of work, and I never meant to get into that much carpentry, but I think I'm going to generate a series of good-looking pieces. I'm almost finished with the blue window, and I thought it needed a little something. It has a very strong architectural graphic, which I'm really happy with. I began to associate this window with me, and maybe it could be a self-portrait. So I masked off an area in the shape of my torso, my head, and sprayed adhesive on it, and then sprinkled this sawdust, but it's not really sawdust. Let's see. Sawdust, of course, is something you get when you cut wood. When you cut the plexiglass, you get plexiglass dust. And I sprinkled that on the area which had adhesive. It took a few applications. I think I have enough of it sticking, and I'm looking forward to removing all this material and see what this looks like. The other window is substantially done, and you could see it has this quality of poor workmanship. It looks like a window, but there's something totally wrong with it. And I also, when I inserted the panes, I made sure that they were tilted this way and tilted that way, so it gives a very interesting reflection of the light. I'm working on my next window. This is the frame for the window, and I wanted to just show you a unique feature of this window. This is a little portable fan, and my idea is to install this fan inside the window so that it will blow against the curtain. Yes, I failed to mention I'm going to hang a curtain. It's going to look like domestic bliss. A curtain, the fan blowing it. What could be more inviting? Of course, once you look through the window, that will be a surprise. But I built this little sled so that you can take the fan out and replace the batteries. I'm imagining the liveliness of a window or any work hanging in a gallery. Everything is very static, but the billowing curtains, I think, would be of interest no matter what the rest of the window looked like. The fabrication is complete, and I just have to assemble it. I'm definitely getting better at this. It's going much faster than the first one, so I'm through that learning curve, and I'm just in love with Windows. I love the way it looks already. Surely one of the most powerful images is a boarded up window. What could be worse? What could be sadder? You need to be careful not to even try to think about the families that live there. The families that still live in a building across the street and have to look at all these boarded up windows. I actually found a kind of a perfect piece of plywood right in the basement. I love that. And I'm going to explore what it might look like on the inside of a boarded up window. I have a few ideas. I just need to begin executing and see where this takes me. I wanted to give you an update on my progress. I spent a lot of time getting the fan to work, and the effect is very, very nice. It meant creating an opening, and I discovered that the fan itself needed a better air supply to pump out more air. That meant creating openings, trying to hide them from view. It was a lot of work. What happened after 24 hours, the fan broke. It no longer works. The second fan, I think, is in good shape, but it seems to have already exhausted the 4 batteries. So this bird was never meant to fly, and I'm going to proceed with Plan B as soon as I figure out what that is. I was finally able to find exactly what I was looking for. Weathered, warped, twisted wood. This particular piece of wood is a tomato stake from a commercial farm. And this is exactly what I've been looking for. So I immediately began assembling the window, which got me started in the first place. Now here's a cutoff from one of the pieces. I'm going to hang on to this in case I ever need to kill a vampire. I finally got to make the piece that I got started thinking about, this bombed out survivor of a window. It's substantially done. I know I need to make some refinements, some adjustments. There seems to be too much white space here. I'm not sure that this works, and I think it would benefit by having some short, stubby pieces coming out here and there. So it needs some fine tuning, but I'm very happy to see this. I never intended for my windows or for my work in general to become political. I'm not comfortable with it, but the coarse and ugly way that the government is handling the 800,000 young Americans called dreamers. They are so casual about determining the future of this wonderful group of people. It's very, very alarming to me. I do want to show you, these are mullions. You're now perfectly familiar with them, but a really good work of art should repurpose what we are familiar with. That really makes for an interesting piece. So these mullions, which you know all about, could also be the bars on a prison. I wanted to show you this mesh. This is actually metal lath. It's an old-fashioned material for making plaster walls. I was surprised to even find it in Home Depot, but I guess people still use it. And what I've done here is layer it with very, very interesting results. And I think I'm actually going to explore this in my painting practice. I wanted to give you a chance to see what it looked like on the inside of a boarded up window. I was not at all surprised to find that the family was still living there. They lost all their services, they lost their furniture, but this presented the best option for them, and so they're still there. I was troubled by the air. It was so musty and stuffy in there. So I installed some really small, inconspicuous vents, and that began to make a difference. The other thing I showed them was that they could capture the rainwater from their gutters, fill pails with it, and use that to flush the toilet. This was very, very helpful tip for them. And honestly, I think they're going to be fine.